Boom, boom, ba, ba, dun, 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 dun. Wow, that was my best Beavis impression right there. Hi, everyone. Welcome to we? No, welcome to me. Yes, come on in. I am Arden, the crotchety old man, here back in the basement, and I am got my basement coffee. I'm drinking a basement cappuccino today, and wanted to say hi to everyone. It's been an interesting week here in Herndon, Virginia, where we are being brought to you by Basement Coffee, the finest coffee you can have in a basement. I had to say that just because Alfred called me earlier today, and because of him, I have not done a plug for Basement Coffee in a while. So that we opened up with music from Quiet Riot. I don't know if we have any Quiet Riot fans on the call, but that song, Bang Your Head, actually was on the Mental Health album. And that album was actually very important back in the early 80s as it knocked off Michael Jackson out of the number one slot. It also introduced a whole new world of hair bands. Now, I was not a hair band fan whatsoever. The Motley Crues, the Bon Jovis, and all of them, not a fan. But it was better than Madonna and Michael Jackson. So I do like that. Plus, Beavis and Butthead. I think that is Beavis's favorite song, actually, Bang Your Head. If you ever used to watch that, I know Daniel watched that. So today, I didn't want to talk about Donald Trump all day. I really didn't. But after all the crap that's going on and all the positive that's going on, I gotta go and talk about him again. It wasn't going to be my top story. I really didn't. I was actually going to talk about the NHL starting its regular season, but we'll talk about a little sports probably soon. So let's start with today. Donald Trump is on his way to Israel, or he's probably there by now. It's a little after, it's almost 7:30 p.m., so he's probably arrived in Israel to go over his peace plan and hopefully welcome home all the hostages. And I know he's going to give a speech in Israel tomorrow, and then he's going to be going to Egypt to nail down everything else. Now, the amazing part about this, besides the fact that it was actually done, is that he is getting the credit he deserves. But the amazing part is nothing holds Israel back if Hamas breaks the peace. So once they get all of the hostages back, the 20 or so hostages, and all of the bodies, then there is actually nothing, if they break the peace, for Israel just to sit there and go right in and just absolutely obliterate every member of Hamas. Personally, I'm hoping that they have all of the Hamas leadership targeted, the ones that are in Qatar and Saudi Arabia and all the other countries that they're hiding in. But that would be good. Just have them ready, because if they break the peace, and eventually they will, probably, hopefully not for a long time, but they'll probably wait for another weak American Democrat president to come in and take over. Hopefully that doesn't happen for a very, very long time. And then we'll be safe. But it's amazing. I mean, so I don't have the exact figure of how many prisoners that Israel's giving up. I've heard anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000. But man, 10,000 or even 2,000, even 200. I know there was a bunch that were in prison, like they were on death row, and they're going to be let go. But it's amazing. You know, the Jewish people and leadership will do anything for their own people, and it's a sad day and a great day if it actually does happen. And hopefully we'll know about that soon enough. Now, earlier this week, we had on Friday, the Nobel Peace Prize came out. And of course, Donald Trump doesn't win it. I mean, come on, he can't win it. Gaddafi won it. Was it Gaddafi? I think Gaddafi won it. And also Barack Obama won it in his first month because of what he will do for the future. Not what he does, but according to Nobel, not the personal Nobel, who, by the way, invented dynamite, in case anyone wanted to know what he did for peace. He did invent TNT. But he actually, Donald Trump supposedly had to be nominated back in January. Around January 31st was the deadline. So he was barely president when this was happening. He didn't end 8 wars yet. So he looks like he will be a front runner for the 2026 one. But was really nice. I don't know if people actually listened to Maria Machado. She was the actual winner of this. And she said this was dedicated to the honor of Donald Trump, that he actually is leading the way. And hopefully she's an opposition member in Venezuela. And hopefully, the people of Venezuela start backing her, and hopefully there's a military coup to actually overthrow their current leader. And hopefully she can actually be the next president or leader of Venezuela. That would actually be a really nice thing. Hopefully she doesn't end up being killed. And speaking of Venezuela, I was actually talking with someone today about Venezuela and their drug boats, speedboats coming in, and which was pretty interesting. So Trump is being attacked for just randomly killing Venezuelan quote unquote drug dealers. So I learned that part of the GDP now of Venezuela, which at one point had the 7th largest economy in the world when their oil was being sold all over the world. Now they get 20% of their GDP from illegal drug distribution. I never even knew that. I thought, your Colombia's, your Mexico, all the drug cartels, but supposedly they actually get 20% of their GDP from sending over drugs, primarily in the US. So we actually have to, I don't know. The war on drugs was lost back in 80s and 90s, and it may need to be somehow revisited. Education's not working. We made marijuana legal, and now you have marijuana laced with fentanyl, and it's killing thousands of Americans, and for some reason, it's just not talked about. I mean, it is on occasional news programs here and there, but I don't know why. It's not a big deal. I mean, not my thing, never was my thing, but I don't understand. I mean, the legalization of marijuana, not comparing marijuana to alcohol, because I don't drink either anymore. If I have 2 beers, I'm pretty much dancing on tables. But if you, like we made marijuana legal to make more money for the government. And now we still have illegal marijuana being sold, laced with fentanyl, laced with other drugs, and killing our youth, primarily in underprivileged areas, which is really sad. And it's not just any one community; it's all communities, white, black, Hispanic, and it's just sad. It's just really, really sad. So maybe we should, somehow Trump 2026. Work on that after you've saved us from the entire world and there's no more wars to fight. Maybe it's or end. Maybe Donald Trump can take on that next, but well, not next, because he's got another huge issue to solve. And we'll talk about the shutdown moment. I'll talk about the shutdown, not we. If I had a person here, I could talk to them. Maybe I should get like a stuffed animal or something, just to talk to. But like the shutdown here is bad, but we'll get to that momentarily. Gosh, I keep forgetting I'm not with Abigail again. I'm so used to having conversations with other people, not myself. By the way, here's the question: if I'm having a conversation with myself to others, Am I talking in fourth person or am I still in third person? I don't know. I'll have to ask myself. So when Arden says, let's talk about this interesting poll that came out. So, not a fan of Daniel Littman. He's a writer, he's a reporter, but I'm not a fan of his. But he did actually say that 40%, there was a poll, and he said actually 40%, which was a rounded poll of other polls. Donald Trump has an approval rating of the economy. 40% approval rating. That's shitty. That ain't good. And honestly, today, I went to the grocery store and I had some massive sticker shock on food. I was talking to Daniel, I'm sorry, not Daniel, Alfred, and Alfred actually was talking about steaks and a pot roast. Who knew Alfred actually cooked pot roasts? Who knew? My mom cooks pot roast. Wow, pretty interesting. But anyway, pot roast. But Alfred was telling me that a pot roast was $38. That's insane. And so I'm actually looking at prices today, going, holy F and FF on some of these prices. And then there was deals like on sale, a box of Cheez-Its, $5 on sale. Damn. I remember like 2 years ago, even under Biden, it was like $3, $3.49, and now it's over $5 for a box of Cheez-Its. Damn, that's crazy. Like I was looking at ramen noodles just because I was looking at all these other prices. Ramen noodles are over $1.25 a package where I went. $1.25. That used to be the cheapest thing you could get. But the worst of the worst. And I know there's a cocoa shortage. A Hershey bar, a normal Hershey bar that you see when you're checking out in the checkout line, $3.49 for a Hershey bar. Last year they were $1, $1, and now $3.49. That. What the hell is going on? Prices are it's inflate. Like, do we not know the inflation rate? I mean, we remember when inflation was horrendous under Biden. I mean, eggs skyrocketed. Well, they're still, I mean, the eggs today were over $4, $5. I mean, it's really, really expensive. So expensive that Arden is going out, and Arden is speaking in third, fourth person. Arden actually went out to get possibly a part-time job just to kill some time on weekends. And that was scary. So in this area, the Washington, D.C. area, it's really bad. It's for the first time since I moved down here. I moved down here in December 2005. The mortgage housing crisis of 2008 was bad. This is bad. And it's only really in this area because you have, I saw over 1 million people are either are on furlough or they've been sent home and possibly being released. It's awful out there. And so I went into a store. I'm not going to tell you where, but I actually went into a store and I was talking to a manager and I applied for a job. And the manager, young guy, 30 years old, not too young, because gosh, that is awful when you're interviewing with someone younger than you, much, much younger. I'm like, hey, this could be my kid. Yikes. Anyway, so I'm interviewing with this guy, and he actually said, we are hiring seasonal staff, but in a 2-day span, he had 11 interviews. 11 he has like 3 jobs for 11 people part-time. He said it's all different ages. He said most of the people are over 40, 40 to 50. Most are highly educated. And I was like, damn. I didn't want to tell him that I had actually put my resume in at a few other places. In fact, I got rejected by 20 rejections for part-time work. That's unbelievable. And it's like they don't want like highly experienced people. And I'm not saying that I'm highly experienced. I'm probably in the above average, managerial experience, things along those lines. But, I'm not senior level manager. And yet I can't get hired for anything. They want the guy who worked at Kmart. Hold on, gotta take a sip. Hold on. Ooh, that's a vanilla cappuccino, basement coffee. Anyway, so that's like they want, the guy who worked at, a Target for 10 years. That's what they want. They don't want someone like me who they believe that, now this is my own opinion, and I have had some people actually tell me this, that they're worried that I will take another job. Well, that's why I said, wow, Arden, this is really bad. And with this one particular thing, they had a little like comment section. So I actually wrote in there that because it was about salary, because the salaries it's low. It's I'm hoping it can cover my food bill for the week. But it's one of those cases where in the comment section I actually put like, hey, just looking for something to do during the weekends. Like I didn't want to put like, hey, I really could use this money because I can't afford a pot roast now. So with the salary, it would probably take me 2.5 hours to earn a pot roast. Or I'm actually thinking of it this way. If I got a job at like a movie theater that pays $13 an hour, and a movie that's 2 hours long with popcorn and a soda costs $36. $36 at the last movie I went to. And that was during the day. Wow. I'm thinking about that. You would have to work 2.5 hours just to pay for one movie that you actually could watch for free. I did actually apply to a movie theater. Got rejected by that, but that was a different story. They were fully staffed. That's at least what I was told. But anyway, back to Trump. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. And for our European listeners, they're probably like, dude, shut up about your poor American problems. So this shutdown has been bad. You know what? I love it when they call it the Schumer shutdown because that guy's a dick. He really is. I mean, when he was talking about how the numbers are getting better for him and the Democrats, it's getting good. It's getting good. He wants suffering. I mean, he wants people to actually suffer, the military families. Now, I worked with the military families a few times actually, and I see like, first of all, they don't make that much money right off the bat. I mean, it's an amazing job. I mean, I have no problem with them. Of all the government workers, those are the one group that I have no problem with them getting lifetime benefits. They should get their salaries for life because they deserve it, especially their families who have to literally like go through hell quite a lot with everything that happens. But so some of them, I was reading about the medical coverage for kids and stuff, and they're not going to get paid for a long time. I mean, I did see something that Trump he's doing everything. He's trying to like manipulate like how things can be spent, that the military gets paid, which I really hope happens because it's bad. And then you have the Democrats who are just adamant, and their followers are adamant. Now, usually when a shutdown happens, I mean, the Republicans usually lose all the time. I think actually in every shutdown they lose. This is the one case I think they will win because the American people aren't blaming them. The Republicans actually are saying, hey, we just wanted a clean resolution, and what the Democrats voted on last time, just keep it clean, and we'll do. By the way, this only goes till December 31st anyway. So let's just do this and move on, and we'll take our time and we'll get some stuff done. And it's the Democrats who are trying to remove things from the big, beautiful bill. And I'm not going to go into, it's a little bit more complex about how illegals are getting paid for healthcare. A lot had to do with like HIV funding. It had to do with a lot of other funding where money was given for one project and then it's spent on them. And so like the money, let's just say it was $10,000 was given to a state for food, and that food was then changed over into healthcare for illegals. So it's not a direct payment for illegals, but it can easily be moved around, and that's why the Democrats are actually saying, oh, it's not about illegals getting money for food. It is, and it's really bad because they're hoping that those people will be their voters in the future because they're losing everyone else. That's all I could say about that. I mean, it's just so frustrating. The shutdown is terrible in this area, and but at the same time, this is hard. In the same way, I actually don't have a problem with it. The federal government is bloated. I mean, these are non-essential jobs. How many corporations have people with non-essential jobs? If they need to trim the fat of a large company, they do. No one, people aren't, I mean, like the shareholders are happy about it, but at the same time, it's to make the companies leaner. Sometimes it's a little harder, but the government never does. So on Monday, I know they started cutting permanently some federal jobs, but we need it. The United States government is the biggest company, the largest employer in the entire world. It's insane. It's absolutely insane how big it is. So if we lost 2 million people, yeah, it's bad for the individual, but for the entire scope of the country, maybe our taxes would go down. Maybe things would happen. I personally would love to see that the states start actually taking over. I wouldn't mind if entire departments were cut over time. You know, you spread it out a little bit, maybe over 10 years or something, but entire departments. I mean, think about Homeland Security. You know, that came after 9/11, and now we have a ginormous Homeland Security, the Department of Education, you know, all of these things. I would like to see more constitutionality. My ultimate dream would be that the Republicans somehow pull miracles in Virginia and New Jersey and get to what is it? I believe it's 36 governors for they can have a constitutional convention. And I would love to see that. So you actually have the governors actually sit down and work on the Constitution again. It's never been done. I'm a big fan of Mark Levin, and he talks about it all the time. In fact, I would like to have someone like him actually run it, where, and by the way, everything that can be done has to be exactly the same. Every word, every period, one spelling error would throw the entire thing out the window. It's meant to be that hard, which is really, really good. But just imagine if they said, okay, we have to say why. I'm just going to use the Department of Education. Why is the federal government in charge of that? Just get rid of it. Put it all back to the states. I mean, the states can get money for it from the government, but eventually even that should be weaned off. The federal government is too big. Madison, the fourth president of the United States, at one point was hated, absolutely hated, because there was a huge fire in New York City, destroyed several buildings, and he actually, and I mean, we're talking 1800s here, he actually said, no, funding should not come from the federal government to pay for a city or a state, even though it is New York City. And he didn't, and he was hated for it. Maybe that's why Dolly Madison had to become so famous, because you know she was a hero after the Battle of 1812, where she didn't even want to leave the White House. He was gone. He left before his wife. But by the way, Madison was also very short. He was not even 5 foot tall. Yeah, just useless information there. But so he said that we should not pay for buildings in New York City that burned down. Now, federal government would race in there, just throw money, not even care about audits, just throw money. I mean, we see what Doge was doing. I'd like to see that again. Just keep cutting where you can. I mean, it's just so big. I was listening to this one gentleman speaking about the trillion-dollar debt we have, the $36 trillion debt, that it's so big that it will eventually collapse. It has to collapse. It's so big. But we're forcing people. We are just creating money. We've created a problem. And it's going to hit eventually where there'll be more payments on the debt itself than the actual amount of money that can be collected taxably. And then no one's going to give us loans anymore. Eventually, and if we collapse, the entire world collapses. So we have to figure out a plan for that. what else did I have about Trump? We talked about the Nobel Prize. Israel is going great. He's got that. Oh, did you see about him making the drug deals during the week? That was huge. So I was learning. So the United States population is 4% of the world population. 4%. But we pay 70% of all manufactured drug costs. So the United States pays 70% of the entire world drug costs. Huh. But we're only 4%. So that's going to be ending. Thank you, Mr. Trump, Mr. President. We are going to be lowering that. And when you're lowering the drug costs for Americans, that puts more money in our pockets that we can actually use for important things. Hopefully we're not just going to be spending them on lentinol-faced marijuana. Hopefully we actually start spending them on, important things for your home, important things, true education. Maybe, and in this case, private education, because who wants to send their kid to public school? Gosh, I couldn't imagine going to public school now. I would freak out. Who knows what the hell I would do? But it's amazing. Yeah, so he's making deals. I think the Europeans and Asia, their prices are actually going to go up, but not like ours. Ours are going to come crashing down, hopefully. So we'll see this. Just remember in the election when Joe Biden was actually talking about, how he lowered prescription drug prices and he got this. Well, now all of a sudden Trump is going to be like, yeah, I lowered all prices on on all of our drugs. He talks about the fat shot. Everyone knows about the fat shot now. Is people in Europe are only paying $10 for a fat shot, and gosh, I could use a fat shot. I could use like 10 of them right now. But and we're paying. I forgot how many hundreds of dollars the fat shots are. Even $1,000 for fat shots. It's insane. Like you have to have an amazing, prescription drugs are awful and it depends on your plan. Hey, if you're in a union, great, you've got great health care. Well, what happens then? How would be the health care if drug prices come down? Would unions have more power? Less power? That's one of the reasons why you join a union is literally because of their health plans. Well, you might not need it anymore. So that's really what's going on with them. The other unique things was Letitia James. I mean, she's the a low person on the totem pole when it comes to all of the problems in the government, but she actually gets arrested, has been indicted on mortgage fraud. And it's actually almost like a black and white case. Like they actually have the records in front of them. They're not making it up. And of course, she's like, "Oh, it's the Trump is using the DOJ to go after his political enemies." Wait, he's using the DOJ to go after his political enemies from a person who actually won an election because she said she was going to go after Donald Trump, and she did. And they actually created an entire new law just for him. So she's been indicted. We'll see, but she's still the smallest fish in the pond when it comes to all of the other ones. And Fonnie Willis gets in trouble. Just like all of these pathetic lawyers. But we're never going to see the big fish because they all got pardoned. But who knows with the pardons, except for except for Biden's son, Hunter. He's the only one who got a real pardon that was written. But we haven't heard much about the auto pen, except when Donald Trump actually put the auto pen picture up instead of Joe Biden. But yeah, I'm wondering if we're actually going to have a Supreme Court rule on the auto pen pardons. It would be nice. It would be absolutely great if that had to happen. So, enough about politics. There's just so much. Trump is doing the guy. He still has 3 full years left. Gosh, one funny thing is they were talking about his 80th birthday in June. Way away, plenty of time, but he's going to have the UFC fights outside in front of the White House. Now, I understand the left talking about, dude, is this ancient Rome where the emperor is watching gladiators fight? Okay, I can understand that analogy, but in some cases, still pretty freaking fun. He loves it. You know, he's not attending a football game or anything else. But going into that, that was my unique segue into sports. So the sports, we have the Yankees, New York Yankees. They effing suck. They blew it. They just Alfred was at the final game. I mean, it just Aaron Judge was ridiculous. He batted 600. He was amazing, but the rest of the team just was awful. It just sucks. Man, I don't know how Cub fans lived all those decades. I mean, just unbelievable. Or right now, the Cleveland Indians. They haven't won a championship since the 1955, I believe. And so, yeah, it's only been 2009, but so at least I can remember it clearly. But yeah, that was awful. The NHL new season just started. Big Ranger fan, New York Rangers. Let's go Rangers. They won the other night. They're playing the Washington Capitals tonight. No idea what's going on with that. But this was under the wire. We all know I'm a UFL fan. That would be the United Football League for the second time, or the well, there was a major shakeup in the UFL. I do have to buy a jersey though. I got to buy a DC Defenders jersey. I said that on the air, I think on our second season, that if they won the UFL championship, I would buy myself a jersey. Got to buy myself a jersey because they won. But this year, 4 teams have either moved or changed their name. So that was kind of shocking. All of the USFL teams conference all changed. The Arlington Renegades have moved to Dallas. There will be the Dallas Renegades. The Michigan Panthers and the San Antonio Brahmas became the Columbus Aviators and the Orlando Storm. Okay, Orlando Storm, which I think actually was a indoor football league team at one point. But the cool name was the Houston Roughnecks. Went back to their original name of the Houston Gamblers. And if you were a fan of the original USFL, you remember the quarterback of the Gamblers was Jim Kelly, who played for the Buffalo Bills for their 4 straight Super Bowl losses. So that was actually some big news. And so in sports, we got stuff going on. My brother's Maryland Terrapins choked again at home. Back-to-back games where they're winning in the fourth quarter and then lose. So he's not that happy about that. My mom doesn't care about that, though. Yeah, she does not care. I did, when I was up there, I took a picture of the famous Teaneck, New Jersey Lego brick. So I posted that on my X account. I actually, my X account just stopped working. Maybe I was hacked. I have no idea, but now I am recreating my X account from scratch. So right now I have 0 people on it. I haven't done anything to it, but my original X account I can't even log into at all in any way. There's nothing in it, so that's kind of sad. So I'm going to be rebuilding that. We are on YouTube, but for some reason our YouTube channel still has the "We Are Crotchety Old Men," and a woman still has that, or "We Are Crotchety Old Men." But yeah, so if you want to reach out to us, the only way at this moment is actually through our Buzzsprout feed. At this moment in time, I'm going to be working on things. My Arden email will eventually go up. I believe it will be attached to the new X account, so feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. I know we actually had a decent week last year as far as followers, so it looks like a lot of our older followers actually got back. Thank you for the people in Europe who actually stayed with us. Hopefully we find out what's going on in the UK. I'd like to hear more about your opinions and thoughts. But another short conversation today. I'm going to sit back, have some coffee. My brother did not call me, which is good. He normally likes to interrupt me while I'm doing this. But let me see if we can find that. Maybe next week I got to figure out some new music. I mean, Quiet Riot was nice, but I've had some problems in the past. But anyway, thank you, and have an awesome week. And way to go, Donald Trump. Let's go peace in Israel. Got no